Close the door, put out the lights. Everybody's home tonight. The winds of Thor are blowing cold, but we're here to keep you warm with some fun stew and giggles dumplings, Bass Galaxy. I'm your host, Pat Renwick. It's Wednesday night. This is Stray Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television, the glorified version of a bass fishing talk show. That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
That's a lot of words. Yes. And we're excited. We're excited. We were off last week. We did a little Bass University U-turn. And now we are back. Now we are back with the Bass Elite Series Champions Delight Party Show, Champapalooza, 3 champions in a boat, whatever.
3 dudes.
Yes.
3 trophies.
3 dudes and a little lady, whatever that is.
3 men and a little lady.
Yes, that one too.
Yeah.
3.
Tom Selleck.
There we go. 3.5 men with the show.
With the show.
You know, with the show. With
the guy on
with
the
the
thing.
Sheenan guy.
Yeah, the Sheenan.
Yes. But coming on at the same time, simultaneously means at the same time, we have Frank Talley coming on, Lake Gunnersville. Bass Elite Champion. Yes. Yes. We also have Brandon Palaniuk coming on. Yes, Brandon Palaniuk. He's your Santee. Yeah, well, thanks.
Hey, that's a champion, too.
Yeah, I was like, wait, they didn't like Brandon? No, we know. Because, in fact, Brandon will be beating Big Jimmy Watkins' record tonight. My mom says to me the other day, I'm at the house, and she says, I really like when you have that Big Jimmy Watkins guy on. I'm like, who the hell are you talking about, Ma? It's James Watson, by the way.
She says she is.
That's right. Brandon Palaniuk coming on the show for the umpteenth time today, celebrating his victory.
How many is this?
At the Santee of Coopers.
Andy, you got a number on that?
12.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! In 5 years,
dozen.
Brandon Palaniuk, and for the first time ever on this show, Lee Livesay, right?
Yeah.
Livesay. I'm saying Pan. I don't know what
Livesay.
you're saying, but he's fresh off his win, as they like to say on bass fishing stuff.
Coming straight off one.
Coming straight off his win. You know what I'm saying right there. For the first time ever, Lee's coming on the show.
Yeah.
They're pretty excited about that, Lee. Yeah, as they do say. Hey, Wednesday nights, man. This is the spot. Like, this is the trap right here.
Yeah.
This is the trap of the Bass Galaxy for for the good times. You know what I mean? And we let them roll. We let them roll. And what I'm going to do tonight is I got a new thing I'm going to do. I'm going to start the show with a new thing.
Fresh.
It's called Shout Out Cool People. Cool people. See, I just shouted out cool people.
Yeah.
So anyway, the first.
I know those guys.
So the first.
They don't like me.
The first cool people that I want to shout out is Ryan from Crestliner. Not you, Ryan Whitaker, but Ryan from Crestliner. Big Ryan, love that guy. I love Ryan from Crestliner. He's an amazing human, and
He's a cool people.
Yeah, I love everybody at Crestliner. If you want to know more about Crestliner, hit us up. For real. And we get messages every day about it. We love it. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. The next shout out is Kate Flood. You guys know Kate Flood.
She's a cool people.
From Pro Edge Fishing. Thank you so much. Kate Flood. What's her thing on Instagram? Like K and an 8 or something.
Yeah.
You thanks, Kate, for
Something like
everything you do for us. We mean that sincerely. Also, Charles Daughtry, speaking of sincerely. Charles Daughtry, our sales guy over in New Jersey. Yes. Follow him on Instagram, Savage Tan Chaz on Instagram. Our huge help, Stray Cast Little Helper in New Jersey, Jake Haas. Give it up for Jake Haas. Yes, sir. Jake Haas. So Jake says to me, Jake is really involved in helping us a great deal across the continent, across the Bering Strait, over on the other coast. And Jake is in the business end of things. You know, he likes the business end of the bass and biz. So he likes to see how I did that with quotes like that, air quotes if you're on the iTunes. But so anyway, Jake's like, you know what's genius? And I'm like, what is genius, Jake? And he's like, mystery tackle box. And I'm like, you know, you're right, dude. It's like, you know, you get a boatload, an F ton of tackle, for $20 a month in a mystery tackle box, right?
Yeah.
And of course we know you can get them at Carl's. All right, blah 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 flu. But here's the deal, man. What a great idea!
Yeah.
What a genius idea! The mystery tackle box, the Pro Box, $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
Dude, pretty cool. And you go in it, and just the business end of it, that's cool, because obviously it's no secret that that's a great business. It's a lucrative business.
Yeah.
Okay? As they say in the business. And also, here's the neatest thing about, and I said neat, like how I said neat.
Neat.
Whelp. There's another Midwest word.
Yeah.
Whelp. Neat. Anyways, how, who? Yeah, Tamaro.
Yeah, you know, I got to experience that great mind in the boat. The guy that created the thing today, he
Well,
had good ideas on the water too.
I'll bet
I can
he
see where it
did.
came
Like,
from.
yeah.
Yeah.
I gave them the idea. I gave Catchco the idea of feeding the mayonnaise to the tuna fish.
Exactly.
So if they steal that, I call BS because it's my idea, Catchco. You feed the mayonnaise to the tuna fish, saves you time making sandwiches. Back to Mystery Tackle Box. The thing
witnessed
that I
that.
like about Mystery Tackle Box is that it's a mystery. As dumb as that just sounded. Like
It's Christmas.
You never know what's in the box.
Who said that? But that's what I'm saying, man.
Brad
It's
Pitt.
like you. It was Tarantine.
Quintine.
You never know what's in there, and I found that pretty cool. I did not expect that. It left hooked me. That's what I'm saying. On to let's shout out cool people. Cool people. Shanna from TH Marine. She is awesome to us. She has been ever since she took over Dunk's job. She does it way better than Luke Duncan, and she's awesome. And we want to shout her out. She's kind of behind the scenes. So thank you very much to Shanna. And also Tambien, as they say in Scotland. TH Marine, ironically, happens to be celebrating
45 years of service in the boating industry.
Yeah, 45 years, TH Marine. And guess what? Guess what? Our very own adorable hip-hop fisherman over there, JP High, who's working the chat board over there. JP, we are giving away a $50 redemption code to TH Marine today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like Bill and Ted. Do that again, James. Yeah.
Hit it, Rufus.
Do it again. Yeah. JP, how the heck do you win stuff on Stray Cast every Wednesday?
It's so easy. All you got to do is like and share this live feed on Facebook.
Like and share the live feed on Facebook. So that means take this feed, put it on your feed, and take it out, take your privates out, and take it off of privates. Yeah, because you can't have it on privates, or our JP can't see your stuff, right?
That's right.
As awkward as all that just sounded, you know what I mean, Facebook face people, right? Take it off of privates so we can see and like it. Yeah, take it off of private, man. Like it, share it.
JP wants
And
to
we
see.
do the rest. JP wants to see. So he'll put you in the randomizer and shake you around. And at the end of the contest, or show, whatever the hell this is, you're going to win stuff from TH Marine Supplies, a $50 redemption code. All you have to do, again, in all seriousness, is like and share this. I still got 7 minutes left?
No.
Oh, is like and share. There was hands and flailing. James, should I?
He was
speak?
just judging
He
your
wanted- wait,
intro.
Steal second.
He gave it a 7.
Go. Thanks, James. Appreciate that because I thought it was like a 2. I'm always tough on me. But anyway, that's what you do. You like and share the live Facebook feed, and we're going to give you a $50 redemption code to TH Marine Supplies, and congratulations on 45 years in the boating industry. Starting off with a little trim handle. Henceforth,
Yeah.
TH Marine. There it is. Also, shout out more cool people. You know who's super cool? He's a redhead. Red on the head like a, you know what they say, like a head on a producer, engineer.
That's what they
Ladies
say.
and gentlemen, he's our very own punk rock producer. He's Andrew Ellenberger, the Ginger Nature. Andrew, are you a I mean, I know the answer to this, but tell the Bass Galaxy, are you an iPhone guy or an Android guy?
iPhone all the way.
You were an iPhone guy all the way. You said that kind of snobby, like
Oh.
you sound like that, like you would say, like you were snobby to people that don't have power poles. You know what I mean?
What do you think about people that have Windows phones?
Yeah. But
Just a preference.
the point of the matter is, you downloaded the Half a Spot
Yep.
official application onto your phone.
Correct.
And I want to know from you, from scrolling through the Half a Spot application on your phone, name something that stands out to you about Half a Spot.
I like all the online derbs they do.
The online derps.
It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, right now, Half a Spot official has become the spot. I'm watching
All right.
Ryan and I'm loving it.
just getting ready.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
He's keying up here.
All
Half a Spot official has become the premier place for online tournaments.
Correct.
I mean, it really has in a short period of time. If you're unaware of it, check them out. Download the app, Half a Spot app on your iPhone or your Android. Also, check out Half a Spot Official on Instagram and, of course, on the book face. And halfaspotofficial.com. All the online derbs are available there. And the Ike Foundation derb, of course, is on halfaspotofficial.com. Now, I see somebody geared up over there. Super geared up over there. So I want to shout out to my next cool people. I want to shout out cool people. Cool people! It's the last one. Sorry. Luke Foley with Tin Cup Whiskey. Luke Foley is an awesome dude. Luke Foley is not only our boss at Tin Cup Whiskey, but he is also, like, really cool to fish with.
He's a
And
marksman, right?
Yeah.
With that jig?
He's a marksman with the jig, and he's some kind of sewer with the drinks too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He he sure is.
I bet he likes a different moniker.
Speaking of some kind of sewer, ladies and gentlemen, our very own Ryan Popcorn Cornelius Leviticus Numbers Whitaker.
Yay.
And Ryan Whitaker, you happen to know Luke Foley well, and
Yes, sir.
And you know that he loves the Tin Cup Whiskey drinking game.
Absolutely.
And tonight, Bass Galaxy, Ryan Whitaker has a word. Tell us about the word, about the Tin Cup.
I got a
word.
word.
Word. The Tin Cup word.
The word of the night,
Yes.
and it's fitting with our guess,
Fitting.
is going to be champion.
Champion. Champion is the Tin Cup Whiskey.
So every time you hear the word champion, take a drink of some Tin Cup or some Coca-Cola.
Whatever you
Or some
choose.
Mountain Dew.
And again, we remind you, drink responsibly. Okay.
I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and get it kick-started. Champion.
I see that. And that and
That was a big one.
wow, Rye,
Sorry.
you flush.
Yeah.
You're flush like you were on prom night.
That was heavy,
Yes.
but smooth.
You were chattering like your prom date.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stuff is good, though.
Okay, amazing. Thank you
Dig
very
it.
much,
Dig it.
Tin Cup Whiskey. And thank you very much to all you awesome people. Those shout-outs right there. Hey, we have Livesay, right? We have Brandon Palaniuk. And Frank the Tank Talley coming up. Put the power poles down. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming right back. So is the rest of the gang, I guess.
Things you let me see.
The all-new XF series by Crestliner. Simplistic perfection with performance features built on a platform for success. The amazingly affordable XF series by Crestliner. A brand new way to reel in bass. For more information and to find your local dealer, visit Crestliner.com today. The Crestliner Real Deal Sales Event. The best time to buy is now at Crestliner.com. Save up to $3,000 today.
Hey, it's Carl, and I've got some big plans this fishing season. I'm hoping to get in the best shape of my life to have some of the best fishing of my life. And I want you to join me for Carl's spring training. Let's get it. Let's get it.
This is the mountain, and this is mountain whiskey. Unspoiled, untamed, forever wild. There's no safety net, no way down. Up here, it's just man, and the mountain, and his tin cup. Tin Cup Whiskey. Mountain Whiskey.
T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff.
As a professional angler, I rely on my equipment to be successful on the water, and my eyewear is no exception. Oh, yep, good one. 6 pounder, 7 pounder. From daylight till dark, every single day of my life. In the truck, on the water. My Amphibia eye gear provide 100% polarized protection. They're ANSI safety rated for impact, and best of all, they float.
All right, Bass Galaxy. You know what that means. Champions Delight, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Round and round, the trifecta of champions. I'm your host, Pat Renwick, and welcome back to Stray Cast. This is the glorified version of a Bass Vision talk show. It's kind of kooky, it's kind of wild, it's kind of here, it's kind of now, and we got 3 Bassmaster Elite Series champs at one time. First off, we got, for the 472nd time on this show, the prodigy, the wonder boy, Brandon Palaniuk. Yeah, BMP. Then, here he is, too, for the first time ever. It's Frank Talley. Look at Frank. Yeah, Frank. Woo. And look over there. Look at that champion with the blue trophy. Yeah. Yeah, Lee Livesay right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we got all 3 of the last champs. Champions. Right here. Brandon, are you okay? Brandon?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Good.
Brandon?
I was trying to figure out I was trying to use a different camera, but it's not working, so it's gonna just be off my laptop, I guess.
You looked like you were being hypnotized at that moment in time.
I was reading.
Oh, okay.
I was reading.
It was a good look for you.
That's why.
It was a good look for you. By the way. Hey man, I'm happy to have all you guys here at the same time, and Lee and Frank, welcome to the Crazy Train for the first time ever, man. It's good to have you guys.
Thank you, man. I'm in.
Congratulations, Lee. Congratulations, Frank, and congratulations, Brandon. What an amazing accomplishment to win a Bassmaster Elite Series event. Seriously, Bass Galaxy, we got to give it up again right now for this because it's a big deal, okay? It's 4 days of grueling, pissing fire and then holding up a trophy, okay? That's what this is. If we want to uncoat the sugar dumplings, you know what I mean? The punchkis. I want to try something a little different with you guys today, if that's okay with you. Can you agree to this before you even know what it is, please?
I don't think so.
It's not in his contract.
It's kind of a big deal. He's going to need it in writing now.
You see how he did that, Brandon? Did you guys have a meeting before this?
Yeah.
Don't agree to anything he says. Yeah.
But
yeah, I probably should have warned them
Yeah.
more than what I did.
You might have to sing.
It was both their first times, or else I would have given him like a full 2-pager.
Yeah, the whole rider list, right? Well, what I'm going to do is I am going to go over a brief synopsis of each one of your guys' victory, and then what I would like to turn it over to each one of you guys, and you ask your peers here, your competitors, your own personal question about their victory. Are you following me?
I'm following.
Okay. So, I'm just going to run down Frank's Gunnersville deal here, okay? And again, man, it's like this whole fall deal, I want to tell you from a bass fishing fan's point of view. First off, awesome. Yes, thank you very much that we got
giving us some fall fishing.
Bassmaster in the fall. Yes, thank you. Thank you. But here's, like, we didn't expect it to be this tough of fishing. You know what I mean? Like, when we heard this was going to happen, we were like, oh, okay, Fall Fest. We're thinking, like, Rick Clunn's going to beat all your guys' asses. And it didn't really turn out like that. It was like, it was a grinder each derb. You know, except for Livesay. He just, you know, he wasn't worried at all. But
struggle bust every day.
But I mean, it turned out a little different. So back to the task at hand. Let's go over your victory, okay, Frank? And this is kind of your victory, your Gunnersville victory, in a nutshell. First off, Frank, you're having a great year, and congratulations. You're like in like over half of the field in most of the derbs this year, and quite a turnaround. But congratulations.
Thank you.
Eelgrass, you were fishing eelgrass edges, and I love eelgrass. Eelgrass reminds me of the old days of Okeechobee, and I like that you were fishing the eelgrass edges. You had a little bonus mat that you went to. Okay. Here's the magic. On day 4, you stopped short on your eelgrass weed line. Something told you, all right, and you stopped short, and obviously that was the decision that kind of won you the derp, okay? And I'm going in a nutshell here.
Right.
Also, you felt you were fishing for less pressured fish. And again, correct me if I'm wrong at any time, because I'm just doing bass fishing talk show stuff. So,
dude, you're 100 out of 100.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you were feeling you were fishing for less pressured fish, and you threw the chatter chicken and a frog. So you had just basically a 1-2 punch. Okay, correct?
Correct.
On to you, Mr. Palaniuk. Santee Cooper. First off, I want to add, Brandon Palaniuk, that I do, like, it might not seem like it, but I do a little research before we do a show here, you know? And I always can judge an angler's, let's just call it success, by when I do the search and it comes out, Brandon Palaniuk's net worth is the first thing that comes up in the search bar. Brandon Palaniuk's net. You hear that, Lee? You hear that, Frank? Brandon Palaniuk's net worth. Like, I just put in Brandon Palaniuk. I didn't ask how much money he was worth. So I am judging.
Why do people want to know that?
Dude, isn't it crazy? Like, everybody counts Bass Pro's money all the time. Like, you know, people.
And guess what? The next 2 and 3 were probably Brandon Palaniuk's sister and Brandon Palaniuk's truck.
You're exactly right. And Brandon's boat. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Nailed it. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, and then Seth Fighter's cat ghost was right there under Brandon Palaniuk too. We don't know.
Perfect.
But all right, so here's the deal. Day one, Brandon Palaniuk, you started on Old Santee in Jacks Creek over in what was that, Marion or Moultrie?
Oh, that's a great question.
Okay, well, let's just call it
Marion.
Marion.
It's Marion.
Okay, yeah, from Happy Days.
Yeah.
So you started day one right there, in the creek. But you're like, I think you got a couple, right? You caught a few. But then you went on a mat blitzkrieg. You're like, I got to get out of here. And then you went to a mat and went on a blitzkrieg. And then you did your typical Brandon BS, and you made a culling mistake again. Right? And it just didn't even bother you because you're Brandon Palaniuk. So you're like, okay, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, day two, you sacked him again, right? You sacked him, B. Day two was good. Day three, that was the shit weather day, right? That was the crappy weather day. And I believe that you fell behind Carl on day three, right?
Yep, we're flopping back and forth.
Okay, gotcha. And then in day four, here's the magic. You called the audible, and you went back to day one route, and basically you found your little magic brush pile, drop shot fish, and you were able to jack a few on the. I call it a chatter chicken. What do you call a bladed jig?
Chatterwagon.
A chatterwagon. Okay, I like it. I like it. And then basically that audible probably resulted in your victory, right? You and you got sneaky. You're always doing something on the sneak, Palaniuk. We know you. And you pulled out the old fish arrow chatterwagon, like, right? Sneak.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, there he goes. His screen froze up like Cartman in the pandemic episode of South Park.
Oh gosh.
Yes, that's what happened right there. Okay, so there is Brandon.
Oh.
Brandon, would you agree with that? Is your
He's going robot.
Aren't you supposed to be in e-learning right now, Brandon? Anyway, it's
Oh, gosh.
Brandon, did we
I'm
lose you?
trying different Wi-Fi.
Okay. There, he's moving better now. Okay.
You shouldn't have.
Okay. Hey, Lee, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Your victory in a nutshell. The consensus was chick blows. And usually when we hear chick and blows in a sentence, it's a good thing. But right at this particular derby, it was not. It was absolutely horrible. And everybody was complaining and wah, but not you. Not you, Lee Livesay. You were out there, and you were just like jacking them so good in practice that you're shaking them off. In fact, I think I heard you say that you like shook off old Biggs in practice. Like, and here's the deal with you. I think your tournament was pretty much like, hey, live or die by the frog. I mean, like, I think you caught some jig fish, right? But you, like, your deal was pretty much live or die by the frog. But you did something again different. You know, Brandon had the audible. Frank went further down the weed line. You went shallower. and fished for less pressured fish and in a foot or less of water on barb mats, dude. It didn't make sense how shallow you were to me, to a bass fan, but to you, you're a pro. And dude, I commend you on your victory, and I commend all three of you on your victories right there, Bass Elite champions. So again, please understand, that was a lot of words, and no disrespect intended in getting all that out in a short time. And Frank, I love how you're smiling the whole time. By the way, I love that. I love that. Right? But now I would like to turn it over to Brandon Palaniuk first, and Brandon, I would like you to ask Lee a question or two about his victory, and then Frank a question or two about his victory. You cool with that, B?
Let's see. I want to know how many fish jumped over Lee's frog and never touched it, because it looked like every single one that even attempted to eat it swallowed it, and every single one I had jumped about 4 feet over my frog. So, like, literally, how many ever missed it? Because it didn't look like any of them ever missed it.
See, that's what I thought they were showing, all the misses, but they weren't. I probably had 35 bites the final day alone.
Oh gosh!
Easily. But I only lost one in all 4 days.
Wow.
So each day was a little different. But I had 20 to 40 bites a day, and struggled to catch 6 or 7 keepers.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Gosh.
Frank, you got a question for Lee?
Yeah, I'd like to know how the hell he caught a limit every day. I mean, it was brutal out there, no doubt.
It was, man. I got lucky. Somebody always gets on that deal, and it was finally my turn. That's all it was,
I think it was what's so impressive about your win is how consistent you were throughout the whole 4 days. I mean, you had what, 13, 16 maybe the third day, somewhere in there. Yep. And then hammered out 18 or whatever it was on the last day, or 16 or 17, whatever it was, 15, but like consistent all the way up. It was incredible. I mean,
yeah, I got lucky, I got lucky and caught a limit each day, and I got to go practicing is where I got lucky, and I didn't stick any more fish when 13 was the number in my head when I caught 13. It was 1 o'clock the first day I went practicing and shook everything off. The second day was before 11 o'clock, which was huge. And I practiced the rest of that day and shook everything off. And then the third day, I wasn't going to quit. I was going to catch everything I had, but I had like 17 pounds at 1 o'clock. So I quit again and expanded again. And, each day I would find like 1 or 2 more fish, And that was huge for me, just being able to catch a limit and get comfortable and find more fish.
That's the factor. Yeah.
Any of you guys have a theory on why they were jumping over your frog and not eating the frog?
Oh, they just miss it. Those mats are really thick. They don't see that frog that good, and they're pressured. They're smart, but a lot of it's just reaction. They see something go over their head, they'll just fly out of there after they're trying to kill it.
They kamikaze.
And they wouldn't come back. They wouldn't come back and eat it a lot of times.
I had maybe 2 that I knew came back and got it, and then every now and then you'd catch one you didn't know if it was the same one or not. I had one miss it 7 times in one cast the second morning. Then I threw back in there, and he ate it when it landed.
That's insane.
Like he was the hottest fish in the world.
And you were throwing,
awesome.
You were adding the jingle bells or something, weren't you? Or tungsten or something?
I was adding 2 8-ounce tungstens to it.
Okay.
And they do make a little rattle, but it was just the weight more than anything. You can't hear those weights.
Usually you go to the Hobby Lobby and you put Tinkerbells in there. You ever do that?
No, I put a little maraca shaker on the back when I want to make some noise.
That's on your tailgate, right? You pull them behind after your victory.
Or you take that little, vibrating love ring and pull the cartridge out of it and shove it up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true as a frog trick.
Yeah.
Ryan goes to Lion's Den on the road whenever he's traveling, and he gets those
true story.
He gets those little vibrating rings, and he puts them in his frogs, and then the frog vibrates.
Looks like a dragonfly.
Tip of the week. Yeah, tip of the week. He says he does that, but I don't know.
I've got 3 frogs with
I don't know.
cartridges in them right now.
Like the frog that you used to pull the string out the front and then it would sit there and like vibrate on the water.
Kind of, but it just vibrates
That
the
was the
whole time.
best.
And you
Remember
can
the-
feel it through the braid. It's kind of cool.
That guy's name was like Shoestring the Boy or something. Shoestring the Bois.
Yeah.
It was like something. J'entends Jean. And he.
That's
yeah.
exactly what it was.
I
yeah.
know exactly, Brandon. Remember, it had the string, and then the tail would go.
Yeah.
And it only worked on the commercial.
But it always
exactly.
worked on the commercial.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It worked 100%
100%
of the time
Yeah.
on the commercial. It sure did. Hey, Brandon Palaniuk. Man, I mean, dude. Well, let me go back here before I go. I want to let Lee ask you, Brandon, a question about your victory.
Did you catch any fish in Potato Creek? Because I could not catch a bass in Potato Creek.
So where I started the last day was at the mouth of Potato Creek.
See, this is
And
what
there was
this is what I heard, and I don't believe it.
no, it's true. It was the only place I found like a maybe 30 by 50 yard stretch of submerged grass. I don't even know what it was. Like I had pulled up a little tiny piece of hydrilla. I'd pulled up a little tiny piece of eelgrass, but it all had like nasty slime on it. So if you were at any lake that actually had good grass, there probably wouldn't be a bass around it. But the fact that was like the only place that had any grass under the water, I think it held a couple fish. And the final day of this, I caught a 6-pounder on top water. And I started there day 1 thinking I might be able to get one big bite. I caught a 1.5 pounder there, never had another bite. Didn't fish it day 2, didn't fish it day 3. And then just the conditions day 4, it was like hot, muggy. And I thought, well, maybe I can run back there, throw an uppercut in the first 15 minutes and catch a big one on top. Got there, the water's all muddy, dirty. So I pull out the chatterwagon that I hadn't caught a bass on all week. And I catch 2 big ones. And then I see a big one blow up out in the middle, and I start trolling over there, and I see a brush pile on my Mega 360, and I mark it, come back to it, and catch an 8-pounder out of it.
Typical Brandon.
Just one of those days.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, Frank. He Ferris Bueller's his way through everything. Is what Palaniuk does. That's
No
what.
doubt.
That's what he does.
Hey, sometimes that's the best way to do things is just let it unfold as the day progresses. And I mean, but it's also these guys can tell you now that they've, that Lee's won and Brandon's won 5 of these. When there's no stopping it, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I mean, Brandon, like you said, I hate to keep, bringing it up, but a 2-pound penalty on a cold mistake. Every time he does that, he wins. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. And, you can't stop it. You can't derail it. Even if you miss a fish, the next fish you get bit by is twice as big and you land that fish. It's just, that's the way it happens now. It's crazy. I always heard that, but I never got to experience it until, 3 weeks ago.
And I want to tell and Frank, I want to make another observation here to you before your question to Brandon. If Andy said that Brandon has been on this show, how many times, Andy?
At least over 12.
12 times in 5 years. I've known you a long time, Brandon. You and I go way back, even the radio days. And I want to tell you something, Brandon. It is really cool to watch you progress as an angler, not only in your fishing skills, but the business side and your interview skills as well. And I mean that as a compliment. It's a pleasure to have you on, as a champion on this show. And
thank you very much.
Yes.
At one time you were, how would I put that? My self-proclaimed manager.
Yes, I
believe.
Yes, I was your self-appointed manager. In fact, I am probably responsible for the majority of your success. I mean, not sugarcoating anything.
And you fired yourself,
yeah,
too, didn't you?
And I fired myself to let you grow. I needed you to blossom like a little bird, and you did. And you did, Brandon, and I'm so freaking proud of you. Just want to let you know. Gosh dang it, sugar dumplings and fun bass and stuff. But, Frank, what do you got for Brandon? Yeah, I remember when Brandon was, I remember, Frank, do you remember when Brandon was just a little Bassmaster Classic competitor? And when,
Oh yeah, 2010. He weighed 84 pounds.
Yeah.
He caught one that was bigger than he was in the old Chattahoochee. What was it? What was the name of that?
Chakawacha Hoocha Kanawuchi. Come on, I want to lay ya. Lake. And Kevin Van Dam won.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when he lifted that thing out of the water, I thought it was going to eat him. He looked like a minnow compared to that fish.
Yeah.
I remember that back in 2010. I mean, I've got kids almost as old as Brandon, so I'm still what's crazy about this sport is if you're truly a passionate about this sport, and you're a student of it. I mean, I've watched him, even though I was fishing before. What year were you born, Brandon? In the 80s sometime. And I mean, I was fishing tournaments in late 70s.
Frank, he was born the year Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo came out, just so we all know.
and so it's like Brandon, I watched him progress, and I'm like, I've learned a lot from him over the years on TV. You know what I mean? Just watching his tapes of how to rig this to snell or not to snell. I mean, that was a good one. I remember watching that, video and stuff. But you learn stuff, and whoever says they doesn't want to admit that they can learn something from a younger angler or whatever, or a peer of theirs on the tour. And I mean, I've learned a lot from Brandon. I've learned a lot from Leon Fork. That's just watching him and talking to him about it. You learn stuff, and whoever says they don't learn from another peer or somebody that they compete against or whatever is, full of bull corn.
Well, here's a further opportunity to learn, Frank. Give Brandon a question like on that baffling Santee Cooper.
What made you key in? Did you fish in practice? Did you look at both lakes, and what made you go to the bottom lake versus the top lake?
No, I only fished the top lake, so I might have them mixed up.
I mean, yeah, the top.
I had never been there before, didn't know anything about it, and so I did as much internet research as I could to try to narrow down, like, kind of 3 to 5 main areas I wanted to look at, and pretty much all of them were in the upper lake. And so that's because I knew it was so big and so expansive, I didn't want to get spread out. And so all of the reasons kind of like through areas, kind of that southern part of Marion, and then like the Jacks Creek area, and then the upper swamp area. And I just kind of split between those, and was able to kind of just narrow it down to where I felt like I had the best potential to get 5 bites. Like I went into that tournament literally hoping to just get 5 bites. Like I didn't go into it thinking that I had a shot to win.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious on that because I basically did the same thing you did. I fished the Jacks area in practice, the swamp, and that's where I ended up settling in at for the tournament. And, but I was just curious what made you key in on that. And like you said, that was just, the lake is so big, to break it down in 3 days both lakes would be just too hard.
Yeah, I looked at all the tournament results and read all the reports and everything that I could, and the same names or like the same area the lake came up over and over and again, and just goes on a map and was like, okay, I'm gonna put my time in these areas. Obviously there's fish in those areas. I just have to figure out what they're doing that week and be able to break those. You kind of take a larger 170,000 acres and break it down into smaller bodies of water, and then you just break down those as if they're their own body of water.
There it is. You Bermuda Triangled it, B.
Yeah, that's right.
You did. I mean, you really did. It's pretty awesome. Hey, Lee, like when you guys win derbs, like you can always tell, like how you are. I don't know how to put this. Like how let's just say how much other anglers like you. Okay, all 3 of you guys, when you won tournaments, other anglers like put your guys' picture on their page. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. It's like, that's very respectful. They're like, yeah, man, this is my peer, this is my competitor, but you know what? Awesome that he won. And boy, I saw a lot of Frank the Tank posts. You know, Lee?
No doubt about it. Everybody loves Frank.
I mean, I seen a bunch for you, Lee. I saw a bunch for Brandon, and I sure saw a bunch for Frank the Tank, man. And what a special victory. I mean, overusing a word there. Let's try another word. What a magical victory. Wait, that's another overused word too. What a freaking phenomenal thing that you just won, dude. So I know, Lee, that that was a baffling event. You know, I mean, that was a baffling fall event to go Gunnersville. So what do you got to ask Frank about the victory?
This isn't even about Gunnersville. I just want to know how much money you've won on a green pumpkin.
Thunder Cricket.
This year.
This year, my year-to-date is 165.5, and I've won 155.5 because I caught him on a swim jig at Eufaula. But other than that, it's been a Thunder Cricket the whole year.
It was pretty high, man.
Let's keep it tied up.
Solid.
That's awesome.
It's one of those things. It's like, you know, when it's going, you try it every tournament in the practice, and if you can get a few bites on it, you're like, well, let me see how much more I can, you know, milk out of this deal, and it evolves into that. And I mean, like Santee Cooper, where Brandon, you know, laid the wood to everybody out there. I was proud to get my little 14th place and move on, but I just caught them all on a Thunder Cricket up in the swamps, you know, on the cypress trees. And I mean, I wasn't getting near the size fish that Brandon was catching and some other guys were catching, but I mean, like Carl and stuff like that. But, you know, it was enough to sustain. And these tournaments in the fall, I think, are just, and these guys will tell you, I mean, you kind of, you think that you just put a rod deck full of rods on your boat and you're going to just go through 50 different rods. But if you look at these tournaments that us three won, 2 baits for me, you know, 2 or 3 for Brandon, and 1 or 2 tops, mostly the frog for Lee, maybe a little punching on the packer crawl kind of deal. But other than that, you know, you would think everybody talks, oh, it's a hodgepodge of 50 rods on the deck. It might be 50 rods, but you're really only keying down to 2 or 3 key rods, you know, that you have confidence in, that you just keep fishing, you know.
I definitely agree with that, man.
Yeah. Dude, and good question, Lee, because I got to follow up with that now. And I'm being just completely what do they call that thing in politics? Translucent?
Transparent.
Transparent. Yes. I'm being translucently transparent right now. And so I thought, in no disrespect intended, that the Thunder Cricket was kind of just invented so Strike King guys could throw the Thunder chickens, the jackhammer. And get away. And I really I'm being serious. So my question to you is, I know you probably were throwing the jackhammer before the Thunder Cricket came out. So that's a very hard thing for a bass angler to do, no matter what the bait is. And especially the business end, changing sponsors. Okay, Lee, why are you laughing? What happened?
Mrs. Talley said, you told her it was 130. She caught you.
Oh, no. Jeez, Lee. Yeah.
Hey, tell her I haven't even seen the 100 that she took on the airplane back home with her. Hell, you know.
Still hiding the big check.
So no, that's that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, she barely let me have the trophy. I had to rent that thing just for this podcast, you know, to have it behind me.
I like how she has a direct line to our producer back there. I think that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. But no, back to the question at hand. It's a big deal. So say hypothetically, you're Brandon. You've switched plastic companies and you develop confidence in a certain plastic, and then you switch because this is now your business partner. How hard is it to overcome some of those obstacles, Frank, and especially with that chatter chicken? Tell me about that.
It honestly, it really boils down to confidence. And what I did is, when they came out with it, like this off season, before we started up at the St. John's. I have a local lake here that's called Stillhouse Hollow, and it's full of hydrilla. And so what I did is I just went out there day after day after day and just fished that thunder cricket consistently to build up confidence with it, you know, and that's the reason why I ended up doing that. Don't get me wrong, there's times when another bladed jig, whether, you know, it's a vibrating jig, you know, a jackhammer or a Picasso for say, that, you know, sometimes the color combination, you know, that you can only get certain amount of colors in certain amount of product, you know, and there's just sometimes that you can't make those fish want what you're trying to offer. But for the most part, if it's a green pumpkin with a green pumpkin blade, white and chartreuse with a silver blade, or a white on with a silver blade, I mean, that's 95% of the fish I catch on a thunder cricket or a bladed jig would be on those three colors. And so a lot of guys throw black and blue down in Florida, and I do too. But it's basically confidence, just going out there and fishing it and fishing it and fishing it to where you start getting bites, and then you're like, okay, I can do this, you know, because each of them have their like little,
I said, then you're like, this is my deal. Now I know it works. I know it's the right tool. Yeah,
exactly. Just like, you know, and I'm not trying to, you know, talk for Brandon, but, you know, him being with Zoom forever and then now with X-Zone, I mean, he had to get confidence in the X-Zone product. And so he probably went out and his home state of Idaho and just hammered on them in the off season, working on getting confidence built up to catch them on a slammer or a, you know, the what was it, muscleback craw, you know, that type of stuff. So, you know, and I know Lee did the same thing. We've all we're not sponsored jumpers. I mean, product jumpers by no means. I've been with Strike King since I started the Elite Series, and Lee's been, you know, with NetBait, and then, you know, Brandon's with X-Zone and Rapala. You know, we're not jumpers, but you know, every once in a while when you do have a product change, you have to put yourself in the confidence, and you have to fish it a bunch before you put it into your arsenal of tournament.
It's a big deal, or it turns into the George Cochran syndrome with the jerkbait way back on the deal. Hey, Brandon, I know that you got to have something there for Frank the Tank. I mean, I know you were scratching your head at that dirt.
I want to know, at what point in the event did you feel like you had a shot to win? Because that to me is always intriguing, because in practice I have a shot to win, and then events like Santee Cooper, I didn't really know, and I didn't really feel like I had a shot to win until really the fourth day. And so I was like, at what point, because you were just very steady and you just kind of slowly crept up and crept up and crept up. So like, at what point did you think you had a shot to win? Like, was it when you caught big ones when your boat broke down? Or
yeah, honestly, it was just like you said, Brandon. It was on the fourth morning. Like before I caught the first 5-pounder in the first stop, I was like, you know, I actually have an outside shot. In my mind, I needed 20 plus pounds to do it, because I figured, you know, Wes or Welcher would have, you know, 15 pounds on a bad day. I had to make up, you know, 3.5 or 4 pounds worth of fish. So I'm like, man, I'm just sitting in the back. But when I launched that last day, I'm like, you know what? I really think I have an opportunity. If I can catch a couple of 5-pounders, I think I can have an opportunity to make a run at it. And that was, you know, Brad, he told me after the second day, he's like, dude, you could have an opportunity to win this thing. And I'm like, man, no, I'm just fishing for a top 10, you know, right now. Let's just, he's like, no, dude, you're on the right fish, blah, blah, blah. I didn't believe it, you know. And then after, like you said, when the boat broke down on the third day and I'm catching 3.5 pounders while I'm waiting for them to bring me a new boat, I'm like, man, this is like you said, you can't stop it. This might be the chance, you know. And then when I launched Friday, or the last morning, we had that like little 10-minute or 15-minute fog delay. I thought to myself, you know what? If I can land on them, I think I can do this, you know. But I still haven't even really thought about it, you know. And it kind of goes back to, how did you feel when you won your very first blue trophy? I mean, it still hasn't sunk in. It really hasn't, you know, of what we've accomplished.
Hey, it's
you
right
know?
behind you, and that's not a Sam Squanch. That's a blue trophy. And then, you too, Lee. You both got over the right shoulder, man. Pretty cool. Lee, you got a big day tomorrow, and so do you, Brandon. I mean, you guys, you got a day at the office tomorrow, and I mean, I don't know what's going on out there at the Neely Henry, but are you guys both feeling good?
I don't know about Brandon. He said something about punching and buzz baits, and then he put up a post tying something on a spinning rod.
He's
so I
a
think he lied.
sandbagger. He's a sandbagger. You know that. Unreal.
I didn't even do any tackle.
I'm just confused.
I'm tying on one. I'm going to retie my spinnerbait on the same line, and I'm going to throw one spinnerbait all day long. That's all I'm going to do.
Dude, I love it. I love it.
Chartreuse and white blade, chartreuse and white skirt. Ain't nobody throwing it, and we're going to see what happens. I might be in first, might be in last. Don't care. I'm going to roll it.
That's outstanding.
Can't argue with the champ.
Hey,
I just know that there's 45 guys on the Elite Series that are praying and hoping that Brandon wins. This week, and then Lee wins at Fork because that opens another classic spot up. So yeah, there's 45 guys that are below the classic line that are hoping that one of these guys pulls something off.
Yeah. See that? Hey, do you guys wanna stick around here for a couple more minutes? You wanna do a little get to know me?
Get to know you or get to know someone else?
Well, get to know me. So I enjoy horseback riding. I like long walks on the beach. I have every Bassmaster episode up to the year 2006 on VHS tape. And I like frozen pizza.
And he's got a nose like a Doberman Pinscher.
I sure do. But anyway, hey, all right, let's get to know these Bassmaster Elite Series competitors. I wish Bob Cobb was here. God, I wish Bob Cobb was bringing it. It's time for the Bassmasters. Okay.
Ooh,
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Hear it, guys. You get excited when you hear that.
The tunes.
I do.
DNF.
Here's Larry Nixon.
Larry Nixon. Yep.
And then he's like all shocked.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He's got the shocked look.
On the pistol grip.
Yeah.
Stay pegged, baby. Stay pegged.
5.5 foot rod.
He really said WTF, Frank.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
With that bucket baseball cap.
Hey, so I want to ask you guys, Brandon, if you had the opportunity to celebrate your victory anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Gosh. That's a great question.
No, thanks.
Probably at my shop back home in Idaho.
Look at you, homeboy.
In the shop.
Okay, in the shop.
Yeah.
There's Brandon
He's
in the
on
shop
point.
with his shop back. Oh my goodness gracious, Ryan. We will get that. Okay. And Frank, how about you?
Oh, I already did. I celebrated it in my bed with my wife when I got home.
Hey.
There it is. Like your style. You hear it, Frank?
Yeah.
You digging the groove?
There you go.
That's the deal. That's the deal.
Old 70s style.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, I
That was a
dig it.
great answer.
Waterbed.
Heck yeah. Silverback gorilla. Frank the Tank. Getting it done. Getting it done. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I got a multiple choice one.
My son's next to me, and he's over here just shaking his head, blushing. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like as red as my shirt is
That
right
happens. That happens. Your dad's a rock star. He's from Tejas, like Kenny Powers. He's from like Kenny Powers.
How old's your son?
here. He's gonna be 18 here in a month, but he's
Oh,
17.
boy.
on.
See,
Come
here-
on.
here-
What'd you win 18 years ago?
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what
he
I'm
acted like
talking
he-
about.
That's funny.
See, when I was talking about Brandon's interview skills progressing, that's
That was solid.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was talking
That was
about.
like some Andy Richter right
Wow.
there.
Yeah. Hey, Lee, yours is a multiple choice, and this multiple choice question comes from Geddes Brannon. You know Geddes, right? Yeah. He said he
I
has.
already know where it's going.
Yeah, he has videotapes of you that he sent me prior to this that I cannot put on social media, Lee. I did. All I'm saying is I want to party with you, cowboy. That's what I'm saying.
That's why we fired Jetties.
Yeah. He's got tapes. That's all I'm saying. And he's probably going to be in politics someday. So that's all I'm saying. But
I've got some of him too.
So here's your multiple choice question. Would you rather spend your victory time in Disney World, Las Vegas, Nevada, or Wendell's Dippin' Branch? Wendell's Dippin' Branch. And what the hell is Wendell's Dippin' Branch?
Well, if I got a pocket full of cash, I'm going to say Wendell's Dipping Branch.
Oh, you do? You got $100K, Bo.
Well, they're cash only at Wendell's. You got to have cash.
They don't take 6 foot wide checks.
Is that where these tapes are from? Oh, my goodness. Dang.
It was Lake Hartwell involved.
Okay, gotcha. So why do they call you Diggler, Dirk Diggler at Wendell's?
You got to have a 4-wheel drive to get to Wendell's.
Okay.
It's down a dirt road.
I am a star, baby.
So, hey, Lee, is this very similar to your Bassmaster Radio and Bass University interview that you've done so far?
And exactly like it.
Thank you. Thought so. Hey, Lee, when you were little, did you used to like to pretend things?
For sure. I'm going to roll with it. Yep.
I did. I mean, and one of the things I liked to pretend was, I used to like to play pretend Rick Clunn. I would go, in the yard and just play pretend Rick Clunn. You know, hi, Mom, I'm Rick Clunn. And then, I'd be, just casting and doing Rick Clunn stuff and standing like Rick Clunn when he winded. And
Did you braid your ponytail, too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had long hair my whole life. Yes. I did. Because of Thor and Rick Clunn.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I used to pretend to be Rick Clunn. Was there ever an angler you pretended to be in your mind?
Oh, Hackney for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Man. Yeah, he's a bad man, but dude. Is that the best hook set ever in the world?
For sure.
Hook sets?
No doubt.
Like Greg Hackney? Yeah, man. Hey, Frank. Hey, Tank. Who did you ever pretend? Did you play pretend when you were little?
Denny Brower, always
Brower.
flipping into, pitching into, a little plant pot or something like that. Always acting like I was Denny.
Denny is never afraid.
The earth rattling hook sets are a trend right now.
Absolutely, they are. And Denny Brower is never afraid to penetrate deep into the bush. In fact, did you know that Denny Brower actually did shots of whiskey on Ozzy Osbourne's limousine in the alley outside the David Letterman show? True story. We learned it here on Stray Cast.
That is true. Yeah.
Did you know that, Frank?
I did not know that, honestly. I was like crazy. Heck, the last time I seen Denny was down in Mexico. We were bass fishing at a lake down there, and he signed some crankbaits and stuff for my son and my nephew, and we had a good time. Trust me. It wasn't taking shots off of Ozzy's belly button or wherever you said.
No, nothing like that. No, gosh, no. I love Denny. I'm sorry. It's Denny Brower. Don't say that. I don't want to wake up with a horse head in my bed. Are you crazy, Frank? Jesus, criminy. Wow. Denny, no, Denny. Stop. Anyway, back to the show. No, where Denny Brower is doing shots off the limousine.
He really did. Ozzy's. He taught Ozzy to cast in the alley behind the David Letterman show.
Ozzy was backlashing his shit, right? Yeah. Out behind the alley, and they're doing shots. Denny, you know, and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Dude, Denny lives like 6.5 hours from me in Del Rio, and I'm still scared of Denny. I mean, at 70 years old, Denny is still. He'll mean mug the hell out of you.
Dude, Kenny Powers is afraid of him. You know, the great baseball player, Kenny Powers from Tejas.
Oh, yeah.
You know him, Lee. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kenny MF Powers. Hey, Brandon, who did you use to pretend when you were a little Brandon?
Actually, Denny Brower was one of my favorites, too.
Yes. I love this game. I love the
Believe
pretend
it or not,
game.
Denny Brower was one of my favorites. And my first year on tour, I had a run-in with him at it was the last lead anyone at Arkansas River.
Okay.
We were down in Pine Bluff, and he thought I was hold jumping him. And later he came and apologized because he realized I was not hold jumping him, and I was fishing a brush pile he didn't know about. But he thought that I was hold jumping him.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. Like the biggest idol I got just came up screaming and yelling at me.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, Danny, I promise I didn't know you were back here. And I told him, I was like, if you want this brush pile, you can have it. And then later he came and apologized and told me he didn't know about that brush pile. And I told him he could still have it the final day. But
you're Denny Brower. Yeah.
I was like, when Frank was talking about being scared about Denny Brower, I was like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. That man rolls up and he means business.
Oh, man.
I love the guy.
I'd rather fight 20 Tommy Biffles and 7 Hank Cherries than fight one friggin' Denny Brower. He intimidates me, but I like him. He is a good guy, but he can get crazy. You could tell.
Man,
2 pairs of pants.
You know
that
who
day,
else
Brandon.
looks like they can get crazy? Lee over there. Lee,
Who?
you look like a wild man, Lee. Yeah, I'm not gonna kid you, dude. Like,
I wouldn't fight Lee.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
I wouldn't fight Frank either.
I know,
Frank's a
I
teddy
know.
bear. But
This is a good
but you
team.
know, Frank, it only takes one punch from Frank.
Yeah, he lays him out. Hey, Frank, you want to go streak to the quad later after the show? Me and you. Let's do it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hey, Lee, like if you could kick anybody's ass in the world, who would it be? Like, pick somebody to just lay him out. Who would you lay out? Who?
Caleb Summerall.
Caleb Summerall.
Oh, wow. No
Is that because he
hesitation.
whooped you in the last wrestling match?
Yeah, he gave me a shiner right here the other day on the coffee table.
Oh my gosh.
I beat him 9 times at checkers in a row, and he got pissed and threw me into the coffee table.
What a sore loser.
He lost 9 times
Caleb.
at checkers?
Oh
He's
my
not-
gosh.
Caleb Summerall is not very good at checkers.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty bad.
Wow. Your own roommate beat the shit out of you for a checkers game.
I didn't think you could lose at checkers after like 12 years old.
He was in the chat. He was in the chat asking, what is Lee's nickname? That's what he asked.
Oh, man.
What's your nickname, Lee?
Checker?
What's that?
What's your nickname? Caleb is in the chat board and wants to know.
Oh, the Marshall.
The Marshall. Okay. The nickname is the Marshall. Gotcha.
That's not what they call Denny? The warden.
The warden
Warden.
is Denny.
The warden,
We
yeah.
thought it was Diggler.
The warden.
That's everybody told us it was Diggler.
Yeah, Diggler.
Was your nickname. Apparently not. Hey, hey, you got a pretty cool.
Glad Caleb was watching. That's even better.
Yeah.
He's mad right now. He's playing his son at checkers, beating his ass right now, trying to get his confidence up.
Practicing.
Oh, you bass pros, you. I'll tell you. Hey, Lee, you got a kick-ass boat, dude. What you run that ballistic, right?
Yes, sir.
Dude, that's a heck of a sled right there. That's a face peeler.
It's nice, man.
Like, so I got to ask you, like, what was your first boat ever? What was your first sled, Lee?
Oh man, I mean, we had like a 14-foot D-bottom aluminum boat first with a 9.9 and no trolling motor, and then the actual motor went out, so we got a trolling motor, and then we used it. But the first boat after that was like a deep V fish and ski Bass Cat, and then I rolled a Skeeter SS 140 forever, and then it went Triton TR20X, and then about 1 million Phoenixes, and now a ballistic.
There you are. Wow. Okay. So you've been through the gamut of sleds. How about you, Mr. Frank? What's your first sled ever?
Champion. I've always been a Champion fan until they
Wow.
went out of business in 2008, and then I've been in a Triton since.
Okay. So you had a Champion as your first bass boat before a John boat or anything. Pretty badass, Frank. Pretty badass.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, my dad, when I was when we first, my dad had in 1979, he had a 1979 Ranger 179V. They don't even make a number that low anymore. You know, that thing was like, and had a 175 on it, 18-foot boat. That son of a gun with porpoise, you'd need Dramamine just to run across the lake. It was way too much motor for a 18-foot boat back then. You know, had a 175 Black Max.
Yeah,
on it.
buddy.
You know, we was shitting in high cotton. You know what I mean? We thought we was bad to the bone, but that 40 miles an hour and that son of a gun slapped the dog snot out of you. You need back braces and dang icy hot after a day of fishing.
That's awesome. And Brandon, what was your first sled ever? Your first water sled?
Yes, the first one that I actually owned was like a 1970s pop rivet aluminum ski boat.
Yeah, bud.
You know, like the old ski boats that had the platform and then the windshield that went all the way around.
Oh yeah.
It was like this little. It was like a 16-footer, and it had an old. I think it was an Evinrude, like a 1970s Evinrude on it.
Oh.
And I screwed up, and I got a 101 pound thrust old Minn Kota Maxim from the guy that got me started. What I didn't think about is when I mounted it to the front, I didn't put a brace underneath the.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
I just put the bolts and some structures through. And one time I kicked it on high and kicked it sideways and blew the bolts and everything right through the aluminum through what I called the front deck. That was not the front deck, and ripped the Minn Kota straight off into the water, and it was just hanging by the cable.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And that was pretty much the end of that boat.
Hey, Lee, what's a song that makes you feel invincible? Like, is there a song that just gets you all jacked up, bro?
That's easy. It's Frogman from Whiskey Myers.
Frogman. What? That's it. I don't know that band. Should I know that band?
Yeah.
Okay.
Legit. It's kind of a Southern rock, Texas red dirt country. They're badass, man. They like to fish, hunt, and jam out and drink beers.
All right. Will you send me something? Send me a link or something after you're done at the office after a couple days.
Yeah, I'll hook you up.
After you win the derb over there. Send me with your yellow and white spinner bait.
Brandon said, no, you know.
Brandon, what's your jam right now that's going to help you win this tournament?
Oh, gosh. And I change all the time.
I know. That's why I ask you.
I'm like, one morning I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to listen to rap this morning. Next morning I'm like, I'm going to listen to rock. And then some mornings I'm like, I'm going to listen to Whiskey Myers. I got Whiskey Myers on my playlist. It's good stuff.
Okay.
You need to get well-rounded in your music, Pat, and you need to learn about Whiskey Myers.
I love
Good
outlaw
stuff.
country. I don't like fake country like that when they do the thing with their feet and stuff, you know?
Oh,
but
they're
I
real stuff.
Yeah, I like you know what I mean? But I like outlaw country.
Brandon, you got to update your Spotify list.
Yeah.
You're slacking on that.
Yeah.
You need to update it. I haven't put new music on there in a while.
Yeah, get up
I'll
on
work
that.
on that.
He's still got Britney
Now that
Spears.
I know someone's actually listening to it.
I'm the one subscriber, yeah, I'm the one follower.
Hey Frank, how about you, bro? What's your jam, man? What gets you pumped up?
I like some CCR in the morning. I'm an old school rap too. I like Nelly. I like some old Snoop Dogg, you know. I get down on it.
If you want to go and take a ride with me, take
baby. Loped out G's going crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
didn't see that coming.
Now show your son's face.
Yeah. He doesn't run. He runs out.
Oh,
I would have never guessed Nelly. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, Batter Up. One of my favorite Nelly songs. Batter Up and Country Grammar. I like both of those.
He just said a little CCR, a little Nelly.
Dude.
Those go together.
That's eclectic AF. Wow. That's why I love doing a bass fishing talk show.
I can totally relate to that.
So my next question to you is, what's your favorite size slip sinker, guys? No, just kidding. Just kidding. So hey, like I gotta ask you this, Lee, like, who's your ride or die? Is it like, who's your thunder buddy? Is that Caleb? You know, as far not, you know, like, is that your guy? Is that your dude?
Yeah, Caleb Summerall.
Yeah, that's your guy. That's who you're going to bat with. That's who you're going to brawl the zombies with.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, I got you. How about you, Frank? Who you fighting zombies with?
I mean, if it's if you're talking fishing professionally wise, or are you just talking anybody in the world?
Well, give us a fisherman. Like, who's a fisherman you're going to pick to fight some zombies?
I go with Brad Watley, no doubt.
Oh.
He'll do it. He'd go for their legs. He'd bite their kneecaps.
Okay.
Crossbow.
So, Brandon Palaniuk, if you're going to take out Thanos before he destroys the entire universe, the entire Marvel universe, who are you picking? Who's your ride or die? Who are you fighting with?
I'm going to have Pipkins on one side. I'm going to have Jockimson on the other side. I'm going to put Lee right up front and center. Let him take the first couple swings.
Yeah, I don't think you realize how big Lee is. When you see him in person, Lee's a big guy.
Oh, I know.
Like 6'3". Yeah, he's a mountain of a man, no doubt.
Yeah.
You know?
All you have to do is go back and watch the live footage of everyone else wrenching the frogs out of the grass, and then watch Lee wrench the frogs out of the grass, and they're like skipping across the top.
Yeah, it's
everyone
nuts.
else is like, come on, don't come off, and Lee's going.
That was awesome. Yeah.
It's pretty badass. And Lee's, everybody talks about Carl and the Gloid. The Gloid. But I mean, if we got Lee on our team, Lee's got the Gloid. That's the reach. I mean, that's boom. That's what you got right there.
That's the power drive.
Reach. Hey, Lee, so there's a lot of people trying to get in this Bassmaster Elite Series. There's a bunch of them, right? They're fishing the opens, they're scrounging, they're selling blood, all kinds of stuff just to get into the Elite.
Plasma,
all that too. Yeah, and other things. And so, like Lee, if there was somebody that you just do not want in the Elite Series because they're that good, that is in the opens right now, who is it? Who needs to stay out of the Elites?
Oh, that's Todd Castledine for sure. I'm about to block his number now.
How about you, Palaniuk? Who do you want out?
Oh man.
Don't worry, they'll still like you.
That's a dangerous question.
No, they'll like you still. This is a talk show. It's just a talk show.
Maybe Hallman. He's been on the Elites before, and
Hallman.
he's caught him on the Elites before.
Brad Hallman.
So he'd be coming in knowing what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd be a little fearful if you saw his name on the roster. Okay. How about you, Frank the Tank? Who are you thinking, Talley?
Well, maybe you have to go back to Lee's buddy, old Hackney. That's a tough one right there. Old Hackney will put a stone cold whooping on you.
Yeah,
no doubt.
him and that engine, Jason Christie. Him too.
Oh, those two tag team you. Yeah, you're not going to wake up till it thunders in Oklahoma, and it stopped thundering about 6 months ago.
Yeah, Jason Christie was on the show. I'm so fearful of him.
He scared the hell out of us.
Yeah, he was on the show and he killed a rattlesnake while we were interviewing him in his garage, and then he'd skip a beat. That's how badass he is.
I know where they're both staying, Frank. So if you want me to put a stop to either one of those.
Dude, yes. I give you half of my check that I won. Heck, if you take care of those two, take them out.
Well, hey.
It's probably good for all of us. We could probably come up with a collection plate of all the Elite donation.
Yes. They can catch them, no doubt. They're probably, in my opinion, the two stoutest ones that have a shot at coming over, no doubt.
I hear you. Hey, so I got to ask this question to all of you guys because I always try and put this together, and it's kind of similar to a question that Brandon asked earlier, Kawinka Dinkley. But before you won that tournament, okay, the last day of the derb, and I'll ask you first, Lee, that last day of the derb, from the moment you woke up to prior that you knew you won, what was different about that day than the other 3 days of the event? What was different about that day prior to your victory? I ask you first, Lee.
Honestly, I felt it the second morning of the tournament. When I started on a mat early, because I wasn't frogging until 10, 11 o'clock the first day, and that was in my head. I was going to run bless with the jig and then frog in the afternoon. because the frogging is usually better late in the day when the sun's up and the mats are the hottest. I started on a mat early the second day, like right off the bat, and had like 10 bites and 10 casts pretty much.
Wow.
And like, I mean, I remember getting interviewed that day. I moved up to third, I think. And all I could say, I was just repetitive for no reason. I was saying, this is the first time I felt it. This is the first time I felt it. I remember telling Mercer and Zona and Davey, and like that's when it clicked. Like I have a shot, I feel it, and I've never had that feeling ever in any tournament that I've won, lost, anything.
Look at
you. Know, and that's when it clicked for me. And the fourth day, it never clicked until I caught that big one. That's when I said, okay, I got a shot. One more bite.
Now,
that's what we all say. We always say one more bite.
Was that just because you knew you could do that all day?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's.
I knew I could get 5 bites doing it, and I knew if I got 5 bites doing it, I was going to be hard to beat. So, I mean, when I figured out I could catch them, I said, I'm going to catch 5 of them a day. It just depends how big they are.
There it is. Frank,
sounds like a fun couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. It does.
I get to frog all day. Yeah.
Frank, what was different about that day for you, day 4?
Honestly, when I woke up that morning, I had slept great that night, before the 4th day. I woke up that morning, did my ritual, which is like a gallon of coffee, a pound of bacon, There you go, Brandon. It don't have to all be about keto and all that. A pound of bacon, and some sweet buns.
Love this guy.
A pack of cigarettes and maybe even and I just went out. I felt better than I've ever felt, I was like, let's get it on. And that was it. I mean, I don't get the last year. I think that was a lot that happened to me is I got nervous, even if I was in 70th place going into day 2, you know what I mean? I'd be like nervous. This year, I'm just fishing, just fishing. I'm not getting too high and too low, just staying straight.
It's
straight
even
down
flow, dude. Didn't we talk about that with Greg Hackney? It's even flow, just like Eddie Vedder said.
Mm-hmm.
It's even flow.
Yeah, and I think, that's, Brandon's got enough experience that's how I'm sure he is now. He doesn't get the highs and the lows, and, and Lee, with a win now too, he's going to be the same way. And it's just the same. I mean, you just even keel. You don't want to get too high and too low. It's good to have, some adrenaline, no doubt. That's what makes this game so fun, this sport. But
the momentum.
If you can control that adrenaline and keep it harnessed, so to speak, until the right time, then that's the way to go. And so I do the same morning routine. I'll FaceTime my wife at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, whenever I get up. I'll talk to her for about 10 minutes. We'll just visit, talk about what's happening at the business and stuff back home. And then I just, like I said, I'll just drink some coffee and, eat a pound of bacon, and then we're ready to hit the lake. So,
Dude, that's freaking outstanding.
Yeah, that pound of coffee will keep you.
Yeah, I like the pound of coffee. You're probably snorting it IV in it if you're doing a whole pound.
Just eating the grounds.
Palaniuk, you got 5 of these now, right? 5 blues?
Yeah.
Dude, is there a common denominator in these in the 4th day on these events, man? Is there a funny feeling? Is there something that happened?
Honestly, every single one of them's been different. I would say the 2 this year are the first time that I've came back from, middle of the pack on the final day to win. The first 3, I was leading going into the final day. And the first 3, I knew after the first day of practice that I was going to have a shot to win, just because I felt like I had found something different than what everyone else was doing. And I felt like I was super dialed in. At Champlain, I felt like I was super dialed, but everyone else was just catching a little bit bigger bags. But when I woke up there and we got that weather change, I knew that I was going to have a shot at catching a really big bag. At Santee, I didn't know what was going to happen every day. What I could speak is I had the same exact odds to go catch 30 pounds as I did to go in 0.
Okay.
And that's just the way that I was fishing, and just the way that fishery was setting up that week is I didn't really know And like the first day I kind of had that feeling, right? Because I went into the event thinking like, okay, after practice, I just need to catch 5 and get some good points and not bomb like I did at St. Clair and Gunnersville. And then after that first day when things started to click and like my second stop, I catch a 7.5 and then I catch a double. I've got a 4 and a 2. And I'm like, okay, maybe we might, your brain starts to switch to like, okay, what decisions do I make to try to win? Cause I might have a shot.
Yeah.
But feel it until the 4th day when I made that call to go back down south and I caught 2 on the Chattanooga. I'm like, all right, this is by far the best start I've had. And then when I caught that one that was almost 8 pounds out of that brush pile,
yeah,
I was like, that right there was like the kind of the kicker, right? Like every day you had to have that big bite to separate, and every day my big bite was coming punching later in the day. And so I felt like getting that out of the way, I was able to go and be that much more methodical.
What a relief.
And that was when I caught that one. I'm like, you catch a fish that big on 10-pound test on a drop shot in a brush pile and like get it out. It's hard. Like both of these guys can attest to it because they felt it. But when those things, there's such a different feeling that you get, and there's no way to explain it unless you've experienced it, and then you know what someone's talking about. But to put it into words, you get this feeling that you can tell things are happening that are above normal, and it's that feeling. I don't know what it is.
You feel like you just got a head start
to happen. You can't explain it.
Dude, that's
you can't
awesome.
stop it, and it just rolls.
Man, I'm like, I'll never experience it like obviously we experience it on different levels, club derbs or whatever for us bass fishing fans and weekend anglers and blah blah blah, us unprofessionals. But like the deal that I can relate to is what Octafo told us after he won his classic, and I asked him, like, is the next day kind of like when you wake up the next day after losing your virginity and you're like, heck yeah, man, that just happened. That just happened. You know, you've been waiting forever, and that just happened. You know, I mean, that's the closest we can get to it. Anyway, try and recreate that as often as possible. But anyway, Brandon, you've been on the show many times, and we've asked you this question many times. So I asked it to Frank and Lee before we get on to some amazing stats here. But I want to ask you, Lee, what is a proper bassin man? What is a proper bassin man to you, Lee?
A proper bassin man?
Yes, sir.
I would say the one in the bottom box that I'm looking at would be Brandon Palaniuk.
Wow.
No doubt. He does everything right. I mean, he's probably eating some freaking 10-year-old preserved squirrel macadamia nuts and drinking water. I'm over here drinking beer, eating Arby's, and hadn't slept in 8 days. And summer I was probably out running 10 miles, and, you know.
You're going to the dip and branch.
People do it different. You know, there's not a perfection. There's John Daly's and there's Tiger Woods, man.
Some people would say that you're the proper bassin man.
Yeah, but I'll take either answer. How about you, Frank? Frank, what's a proper bassin man?
Dang. Honestly, from watching like stuff, Brandon rakes up there. John Cruz is another one that really takes care of his body, you know, and stuff like that. And heck, you can't rule out Rick Clunn. I mean, he's 99 years old and still hammering on
that is the proper bassin man. Yes, yeah. Mr. Clunn.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Clunn, I mean, I can't believe that his back and stuff is still there. I mean, just from all the rough boat rides for 40 plus years, you know, I mean, that stuff takes a toll.
Tuck that leg underneath you.
Yeah, and he can levitate too. He actually levitated over Jay Ellis's bed.
He actually taught David Blaine how to levitate.
Yeah, he did street magic. Yes, he did street magic, Rick Clunn. Did. But hey, you guys love Ronnie Moore, right? I love Ronnie Moore. He's a Bassin angel, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And what's pretty cool is Popcorn over here, Ryan Whitaker gets to probe Ronnie Moore often. He's a lucky guy. And he probes Ronnie often for information. And we got some, we read your files. All three of you have some pretty stout files. Stout, Ryan.
Stout.
What do we got?
Who should we start with?
You
Who
tell me.
wants to go first?
Well, you tell me.
You guys, who wants to go first?
Go.
Raise
I'll
your
go
hand.
first.
Don't all raise your hand at first.
Lee said.
Well, okay, Lee's first.
Oh,
All right.
okay. I don't know.
All right, Lee. Lee, in your Bassmaster career, you fished 31 tournaments. You've got 1 win. Obviously, we're talking about it. 1 classic, 27 checks out of 31 tournaments. Solid.
Yeah.
Those stats are a little bit misjudged because we all get paid now.
I know that, but come on. But there's more. There's more.
I don't think they
coming.
count that though. I think that's.
Oh no, I missed like
right.
5 bets this year.
I'm not sure, but these other numbers will tell it.
Ryan.
So
Ryan. Thanks, Ryan.
985 pounds of bass.
Whoa.
You've caught. You've won $292,039.
That don't lie.
And that comes out to $296 a pound.
Each bass.
Each bass.
He is
1
caught.
pound, $296.
296 bones a pound. That's a lot of dipping branch money, buddy.
And furthermore, each tournament you fish, you're averaging $9,420.
Not too shabby, Lee.
Per derb.
Not too shabs.
Not shabby at all.
Not too shabs. What about old Grinny Frank the Tank? Look how he's grinning
Let's go
over
Frank
there.
the Tank.
Look how he's
Yeah,
grinning.
yeah.
Look at Frank grinning.
I got a lot to be happy about.
You
You
sure
know,
do.
heck, I got everything. I'm just a happy guy.
Well, let me give you a little more to be happy about. 25 tournaments, 1 win, 1 classic, 22 checks, 699 pounds of bass, $245,548 in your career, and that's worth $351 a pound.
351.
Dang.
And you are averaging $9,821 per tournament.
You hear that? Livesay, that's a lot of beer in Arby's.
Yeah.
Right.
If you miss a tournament, you're losing about 10 grand.
Yeah, don't miss a derb.
Don't miss derbs. Don't oversleep from a bacon hangover.
Don't do it, champ. What about old BMP?
There we gotta move on to Brandon.
What
there.
about him? What about the Prodigy?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
This one took
crazy.
a minute. So 113 tournaments. You got 5 wins. You've been to 9 classics. You've cashed 77 checks. You've caught 4,054 pounds of bass, and you've won $1,426,527. And we got a tie here.
Whoa!
With Frank.
With
$351 a pound. You guys are tied up.
Frank the
That
Tank.
number. But Brandon,
I knew Brandon had something in common.
see?
What are the odds of that?
It's
know.
pretty
Crazy.
solid. I didn't do any rounding, but it's still right there.
That's pretty amazing.
But Brandon, you are averaging $12,624 per tournament.
That's legit.
That's legit. That's That's over the cut money of 10 grand.
That's right.
That's
That's
mixing
right.
in opens too, so that's stout.
He did.
That's really stout.
Amazing. Amazingly stout.
Insane.
Stout is the word for the night.
Stout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bassin stout.
Yeah.
Can we get Whitaker's stats, please? Can
My
you please
stats?
Get Whitaker's stats. Nation champion Whitaker.
Yeah.
Stats,
But
please.
Whitaker's been kicking some
I averaged $26 a tournament.
Hey, but it keeps you going to the next
That's how I
one.
know you're
It
nation
does,
champ.
man.
Hey,
I'm fishing the poor man's dream over here.
All I'm saying is that we hope that someday Ryan will fish the opens and eventually join you guys on the elites.
The plan is next year.
Yes, good.
Yes.
Good.
Halfway there.
Ryan Whitaker is halfway there. He's living on a prayer, just like Bon Jovi. All right? Hey, it would be an injustice. I know you guys are going to go to the office, but let's play rapid fire game show real quick. We're going to ask you guys questions about the lakes you won on, and then we're out of here. 2 questions each. Are you ready?
Ready.
Give me a beat, Ginge, like a Janet Jackson one. Ah, yes. Here we go. It's time for the Stray Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television glorified version of a bass fishing talk show game show. Lee Livesay, we're going with you first for a little Chickamauga magic. Okay? Are you ready?
Ready?
Are you ready? So, we surveyed 576 bass fishing pros who get 10% off everything. Who catches more fish on Chickamauga? Andy Morgan or John Cox?
Andy Morgan.
Andy Morgan. And the answer is Andy? Andy, the producer, who's the answer? It's Andy Morgan. Okay.
That is correct.
Close, very close.
Very, very close second.
Close.
Yes, very close. So, Lee, I'm sure you have this information at hand. So this is a multiple choice question. On Lake Chickamauga, full paw is considered how many feet over sea level? Is it 1,682, 168, or 682?
I'm going with C. I have no idea.
Okay, he got it right.
That's correct.
Very good.
682.
Yeah, so far, you are our game
203 meters.
Yeah, that's a 2 for 2s. That's
206 meters.
That's yeah. Do that one again. Do the guitar again, Ginge.
Rufus. Yeah.
Okay, do it again one more time.
They want to go to bed.
I know. All right, sorry. All right. Frank, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here's some Gunnersville magic. In 2006, this guy won a derb on Gunnersville in the inaugural Elite Series year. And what did he yell, Ryan? What did he yell?
Fry garter, baby.
Fry garter
on
baby.
the French fry.
Fry garter on the French fry. Who won that derb? Gunnersville, 2006.
Iconelli.
That's Mike Iconelli. You're
That is
you're
correct.
a fan of the sport. You're a student of the sport, and I love that about you, Frank. I love that about you. In the 1976 Bassmaster Classic on Lake Gunnersville, Rick Clunn won that event. Did he win $25,000, $12,000, or $10,500, Frank?
76. We're gonna go with 12,000.
$12,000, and that is
Incorrect.
incorrect. The answer is $25,000. So far,
That was half of the payout for that tournament.
half of $25,000 for a classic. Yeah. So Lee Livesay so far is the leader. Brandon Palaniuk, you gotta go. You gotta double down. You see what I'm saying? That's Miss Pac-Man.
Oh gosh.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. She's got a bow.
You got to double down. Okay. This famous historical bass fishing figure allegedly loves the smell of wafting beef
Uh-oh.
and was also a guide on Santee Cooper. Brandon, who's the angler? Brandon?
Is he frozen?
He's pretending he's frozen like
What?
Cartman.
I missed the question. I'm
Oh.
freezing up.
Oh, did he Cartman me?
He totally.
Freezing.
He totally Cartmaned me.
Yeah.
What was the question?
The question is, this historical, legendary angler allegedly loves the smell of wafting beef and was a guide on Santee Cooper.
God, I have.
Okay, give him a buzz sound. Not Orlando. Oh, yeah, it's Roland Martin. It's Roland Martin. Anywhere there's water, Lord knows you'll be there.
Roland Martin was a guide on Santee.
He sure was. Not
That's
a lot of
correct.
people know it, but Frank Talley knows it. And also, here's the next question, Brandon. The terms, the original terms for flipping were what? And they originated on Santee Cooper. The original terms for flipping were what? A lot of people think it's a California thing, but what were the original terms for flipping? Daily double, this will make you...
Tree shooting. I don't know.
Tree shooting is wrong. That is jigger poling and doodle socking. Lee Livesay, you are our Stray Cast champion. Yes, a true champion. A true champion does spend his time at the Dippin' Branch.
Ask us what you won.
What did you win, Lee?
Nothing. No, you're the champion.
You're
A
champ.
cold ultra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pride.
Hey,
You won pride. That's
guys,
that's priceless.
thank you so much, Lee. Thank you so much, Frank, and thank you so much, Brandon, for coming on the show and having fun with us, because we had fun with you.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Dang
And
right.
gentlemen, good luck tomorrow. We'll see you at Lake Fork in a couple weeks.
All right, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Lee Livesay,
Sounds good.
Brandon Palaniuk, Frank Talley. Yes, sir. Yes, Bass Galaxy. Give it up for your champions. Those are your champions. Peace, guys.
Good
Best
luck
of
tomorrow, guys.
Hey, Frank, you want to stick around a minute and we'll let those guys go? You want to hang out with us for a minute?
Sure.
All right,
sure.
cool.
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's
cool.
do this.
All right. Hey, we're kicking you guys out. Go to the office. Awesome. Dude, that was pretty cool, right, Frank?
Yes, it was. I loved it. It's enjoyable. Yes, sir.
Man, I like having you on. We got to have you on another time and just hang out, you know?
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Enjoy it.
We'll just chill out. I want to ask you a couple things real quick. I just want to get down to business with you a little bit and get to know you a little bit better. But like, I mean, your deal is what? Like, what do you consider yourself as a bass fisherman? Like, I consider myself a winder. I like to wind and flip fast. Like, what do you like to do?
Yeah, the same thing. Power fisherman. I like
Okay.
to fish anywhere from 8 or 10 foot of water down to, ankle deep water. I'm not a very big, I'll slow down and pitch and flip a little bit, no doubt. But most of everything I do, I like to wind, no doubt. Whether it's a vibrating jig, a square bill, spinner bait, an angler's asset spinner bait. That's a big thing. Top water, that type of stuff, swim jigging. I'm just more of just a shallow water power fisherman. I can catch them. I can find them and catch them deep. No problem. I have a comfort zone there. But, if you ask me what my favorite is, that would be fishing shallow wood with a spinner bait. No doubt.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
I like that you said the spinner bait there. And
Yeah.
and I would pick a square bill, a wood square bill for shallow wood. I love that kind of stuff. And you know what's a cool bite, Frank? And go ahead and argue with me. But you know how, like, especially in those cold months when you're winding a plug, like let's say even one of your Strike King 1.5s or a Strike King a flat side, or that 1.0 is a great cold water crank. But you know how you do that little pull and wind with a crankbait? Pull and wind? You know that jig bite on a crankbait? Do you know what I'm talking about, Frank? When you're throwing a crankbait, you actually feel that thump on the slack line?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I love that. I love that.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. No doubt. I had one bited at us Chickamauga just last week on that Thunder Cricket. He literally was coming to the boat when he hit it. He thumped it just like you said, felt like just like a jig bite. One thud, and then the line went totally slack, and I reeled up as fast as I could and swung into him and ended up catching him. He wasn't big. He was just a 2-pounder, but the point, it was fun just to watch that line, feel that thump and the line just go totally slack. I'm like, oh yeah.
Dude, it's
here
what
we
it
go.
does to our
the best.
sensors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Like, that bite and what it does to us as anglers. Like you said, hey,
The
man.
old push bite.
Right. It was a 2 or whatever. But, like, in your mind, that was old Biggs because you felt thump. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Dude,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's
Real.
amazing. I want to ask you about this chatter chicken real quick. So talking about bites on it, I find that most of the time when I feel a bite on a chatterbait, that I might not necessarily hook up with the fish. When it seems like the majority of the time, and I throw a chatterbait on a glass rod, in the majority of the time that I'm winding it and they just load up on me, you kind of feel a little push, and then they load up, okay? And you pretty much, you got every one of those fish. When that happens, you got every one of them. Now, the one with that jig thump chatter chicken bite, those are the ones I lose. And it could be because of what you just said. It's more like a slack bite and they run at you a minute. Do you think that's what it is, or do you find the same scenario I do, Frank?
Oh, definitely. 90% of the bites I get on a chatter wagon is we'll use Palaniuk's deal, but
Yeah, sure.
is I do get is where it just loads up and gets heavy, and you just swing into them and you hook up, like you said, every time. When you feel that thump, sometimes, or, just knocking the rod, so to speak, out of your hand, just hit it so hard. Very rarely do I hook up with it. What I think they do is I think they come up and they hit it with their mouth closed. In other words, they bump it with the top of their head, just come at it, hit it, but yet don't have really any intention of eating it. They just want to get it out of their area, so to speak. So when the harder the bite on a vibrating jig, necessarily, it's like you said, you kind of hit it right on the head. You necessarily hook up only about 50% of the time on a hard bite, but when it's a soft bite, a load up bite, you hook them every time with it.
That's the deal. Is there anything I can do to hook up more on that knock bite? Like, I mean, because I kind of don't jack them. I still like kind of wait and reel into them, and then, but it's like, what is there something I can do to maybe hook some more of those fish?
Well, one of the things is, and you're kind of at a catch-22, Pat, because I mean, you might, even slow it down a little more, and to try to get them to, when they do, commit to it, they'll actually eat it instead of just bump it, and that could help. But in the same sense, they might not even look at it twice if it's not coming at the right speed. I mean, I throw my vibrating jig on one particular speed reel, and that's a 6/8 to 1. I don't run a 5 speed, a 7 speed, or an 8 gear ratio reel. I run it on a 6/8 to 1. Whether I'm throwing, and 95% of the time I throw a ½ ounce. And if I want it to ride higher in the water column or lower in the water column, I dictate by my rod position. Like, I'll set it at 10 o'clock to run it within 2 foot of the surface on a ½ ounce, or I'll put my rod medium to run it within like 3.5 foot of the surface. And then I'll put my rod tip just by the water. Like if you're cranking to get it down to like 5 foot, I throw 17-pound tests exclusively, and I don't go to 20, and I don't run 15, 17. And you guys have seen me on TV. I boat flip 5 and 6 pounders all the time on 17. No problem.
Yeah, you do.
So
I love this conversation.
Yeah, and you throw that the blade, and then you throw the boot tail one, the Strike King boot tail one on the back, or what is it called, Rage Swimmer or something?
Rage Swimmer, yes, sir.
And then the blade. Now, speaking of the blade, I talked to Aaron the other day. Him and Leslie called, and he's feeling really good. He's actually coming on next week. Yeah, he's coming on next week, and he actually told me, get this, Strike King, Frank Talley, that Aaron turned KVD onto the blade trailer, the Strike King blade trailer. Now, because
Really?
Aaron won that event on it.
You know
And
what
Aaron
that thing does?
Yeah,
Right,
like
right.
Aaron is like a pioneer of, he is the chemist of bass fishing, the rocket scientist, so to speak. Me and him actually fished together, or fished against each other on the West Coast back in California, back in the late 80s, early 90s, before I moved to Texas, and then he moved to Alabama. But, he's 2 years older than I am, and he is that dude is a true, statistician isn't the right word, just a true, like, dive into bass fishing and how knots work, how lines diameter makes a big deal, the amount of line on your spool for your gear ratios to run exactly what they're supposed to be. He's just that technical of a guy, and that's why he's been so dominant and so successful in his career. I mean, he's got 3 Angler of the Year titles. I mean, you don't do that. You don't do that just being a drop shotter, as everybody thinks of.
Which he's
No.
not at all.
No.
Ryan, I'm sorry.
That
I
dude
stopped. What was your observation?
No,
about Aaron?
that blade minnow.
Yes.
I was doing a lot of experimenting actually just last week with that thing in like 4 different trailers, and I noticed that when you do that pull with the rod tip, that fast pull when you're pulling that chatterbait with the blade, that thing makes it hunt when you pull it.
And
it
that's-
goes up to the side.
You know what? That's what Aaron.
It'll go to the
Aaron
side.
Martin
It'll go to the
said.
left or the right.
And Aaron
And with
throws
other ones,
it
it doesn't do
Jens,
that.
do I need to know something?
They want to know what rod he's throwing it on.
Oh, I got you. Thank you. What rod are you throwing your chatter chicken on? Your
I
Thunder
throw
Cricket.
mine on a 7.3 loose 7.3 Magnum hammer is what it's called, and it's a medium heavy. It's classified as a medium heavy on the blank, but it's more like a little bit on the medium side.
Okay.
The reason why I use a 7.3 so I can throw that Thunder Cricket, way out there, and but what it has a real fast, soft tip. So it loads up good like a glass rod, like Pat likes to throw, but yet it goes in after about 2 foot of the tip, 2.5 foot. It goes straight into backbone. So on a long cast, you can still penetrate that hook into the fish's mouth from, a 40 or 50 yard cast at the end of the cast. But yeah, 7.3. And now when I will throw a 7 foot occasionally if I'm like throwing around targets, like if I'm trying to, throw into little pockets of hydrilla and stuff like that, just roll casting 10 or 15 feet out in front of me, then I will go to a 7 foot rod,
Gotcha.
but the same action,
Yeah, man. I like what you said about that, how the rod loads up in the action of it, because a lot of people overlook that and
slow.
Yeah, and as simple as it may sound, I see a lot of guys that'll get in my boat and they'll have like a real stiff graphite rod with a chatterbait, and I'm like, all right, you're gonna land some of them. You're gonna land some.
You're gonna
of
jump a few big ones off.
Yeah, but you're gonna hurt yourself too. You're gonna hurt yourself a little bit, man. Hey, but Frank, how old are you, man? How old are you?
I'm 45. I'm 45. I'll be 46 next month in November. I'm just, man. Age-wise, 45 is like, they say that's about your prime, and 40 to 45 in bass fishing. But you know what? I feel great. I'm a big guy. I've always been a big guy. So, I've learned how to carry myself and my weight and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
I fluctuate here and there, but I don't have any aches or pains. Now, don't get me wrong, a little bit of lower back pain every now and then, but that's just, 45 years old, working in factories a lot my whole life, and then also just boat rides, fishing and fishing.
Yeah.
God.
So, but other than that, I feel great. I feel like I'm 30 still.
Nice.
So, there's no reason I just don't keep going out there and trying to keep up with these younger guys,
Who's the dude that like who got you into fishing? Who was it? Your pops or your grandpa?
Yeah, my pops. My pops was like big time into bass fishing when I was like early 70s, and I was born in 74, being 45, and so
okay.
He got me into it, and then from there I fished with my brother. After me and my pops, I moved to Texas, and then he moved to Georgia. Then me and my brother, we fished team tournaments for 20 years here, and he's been real inspirational to me, and he's 10 years older than I am, and so he took me under his wing, basically. He was 20, I was 10. So he took me a lot fishing too and stuff. But me and my brother are still real close, and we talk all the time. And, but he's one of those guys that could have made it as a professional too. I've heard stories about Randy Van Dam, Kevin's brother being, they say, as good as him, if not better, and so my brother was that way. My brother was as good a fisherman as I am or better, and he just didn't have the opportunity or the break that I got, so gotcha. But we still fish as much as we can together. Nice. And now I take my son and my nephew, his boy, and we try to just get out there as a family as much as possible.
That's
awesome.
And that's what it's about too, dude. And your dad getting you into fishing. I'm leading into something here, and you'll see in a minute, but like I really got into my grandpa is the one that got me into fishing. But
okay.
And he was my neighbor before he was my grandpa. And I don't want to get into the long story, but he was my neighbor that fished before he was my grandpa. And
okay.
My grandpa that had passed away when I was 1 year old had left a bunch of cool stuff. And one of the things is the ruby ring I never take off, and another one was a tackle box, and I remember as a child going through Grandpa Renwick's tackle box, and that's what was like, because it was like toys, dude. It was like, holy cow, man, this is badass. Now, mind you, that tackle box was like late 50s, early 60s stuff. So it smelled funky. It made your fingers weird colors. And they were baits that I probably didn't throw much of except the spinners, But I like to clean them and look at them. You know what I mean? And eventually, Grandpa Paul, neighbor Paul, became my fishing mentor, and we got things going. But I want to ask you. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. But what was that tackle box like to you? What was Dad's tackle box like, Frank?
Oh, it was.
He Cartmaned. Frank, blink 3 times if you're okay. We lost Frank.
Oh, no.
Oh, dang it. I wanted to hear about his tackle box.
Yeah, I wanted that.
Wait, there you are. Are you back, Frank?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm
Okay.
back. It cut out for a minute, but I'm back with you.
Okay, good. Did you get the question? Can you tell us about Pop's tackle box and the magic of it?
Yes, it's like, I'd open that thing up and I'd like organize the worms. Back then it was Man's Jelly Worm,
Yeah,
was real popular, and the Hellbender was real popular, the crank with the little spinner on the back, and a Big O, that type of stuff in the 70s. And so it's like, oh yeah, I'd get it out and I'd sit there and organize and stuff and put all the worms straight and that type of thing. We actually had, his funny story is we had a pet raccoon growing up, and I left the damn plastics out one day, and the damn raccoon ate all the dang grape jelly worms.
They do that to me. They do that to me too. They terrorize me. Raccoons terrorize me. In fact, speaking of man's worms, they found a man's hard-nosed snake. Ryan says
that was mine. Yeah.
But I ain't thrown the dang thing since '76.
It was mine from 2 years ago.
I don't know where those rakins get all that crap. But yeah, man. It's magical, aren't they? Aren't they, Frank?
Yes.
Aren't tackle boxes magical? And
they're magical. Even if I was at your house and you had a tackle box, I'd be wanting to go snooping through it.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean, just like that way.
And I'll tell you what, man. Like, it's pretty cool for a bass fishing non-professional as myself, talk show host, when I get to go to like guys' house like yours, or like when I go hang out at Ike and Ellie's, man. I go ham in their tackle boxes. Like, I'm looking through all their stuff. I go to Fighter's house, I'm looking through all his stuff. I go to Robertson's, I'm looking through his stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. That's like the thing that like gets me. That's my Jonesy. You know what I mean? I just Jones on that stuff because I'm like, I like to see what you're throwing, what so-and-so's throwing. I mean, that's just cool stuff, because sometimes you see stuff that, man, I didn't know ever existed, or oh man, I remember that. I forgot all about that. That works good, and kind of deal. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah, I love jumping in people's boats and just seeing how they got some stuff organized.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you go back to your boat, you're like, my organization sucks.
Like, look at this guy. So, Frank, we have a sponsor on the show, and it's Mystery Tackle Box, and you probably heard it's by a little company called Catchco. And every month we get a mystery tackle box, and I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, I didn't know what to think of it at first. But what struck me was like it kind of gave me that feeling again, and every month I get this Chicago gangster switchblade right here, and I get to open a mystery tackle box, and the first one is, oh, look what's in here. This is from the Young Frankenstein movie, but I don't know if we could talk about this one yet.
Yeah.
Let's save this one for last.
Yeah.
But Andy, what's my camera? I always forget. I have short-term memory loss. Which one? This one. Okay. So Frank, I am gonna randomly pull a bait out here. It doesn't matter the brand. But I ironically pulled our buddy's thing out of here. Well, that sounded weird. This is a X Zone drop shot bait.
Okay.
Is that a slammer?
Look what happened to be in here. Is that what they're called? I don't have my glasses.
Is it
Can I toss it to you here?
Frisbee.
That's the bait. Am I holding it to the right cam, Ginge? Yes. Okay, and you see it, Frank?
Yes, I see it.
I'm tossing. Oh, kaboom! Didn't even knock the whiskey over.
Oh yeah, that's the 3.25 finesse slammer.
The 3.25 finesse X Zone
That's
slammer.
a very popular smallmouth bait.
Okay, there it is. So I mean, you wouldn't be afraid to throw that a little bit. I mean, any type of a little drop shot and
come
bait.
up north.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty strong. Now, what's your favorite Strike King flip jig? Like, what's your flip jig of choice?
Right now it's the Hack Attack floral flipping jig, heavy cover floral flipping jig
Oh,
that
yeah.
you use with floral line. You know, it's got a slightly smaller gauge hook on it, but still stout enough. You're not going to bend it out on a 25-pound hook set, 25-pound test hook set.
And I like the flat eye on it too.
Yes.
As opposed to the other Hack Attack jig, which is good, but the Hack Attack fluorocarbon reminds me more of and tell me if you know this jig, the old Gambler Ninja jig.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know the old Gambler Ninja jig, and like the Odom's jig is real popular too. It's
same kind of deal.
Similar to that.
And this is one of those Guggen jigs. It's a Guggen jig. Say Guggen in a Chicago accent. Guggen. They're the Guggens, Frank the Tank. You know
Guggen.
the Guggens. So this is a very, and again I should have glasses on. Oh wait, I do.
Is that the juice jig?
It's the gridiron. So this is the football one. But
football.
Yeah, because get it gridiron Ditka Bears Guggen jig mystery tackle box.
Sayers.
Dave Bears.
Bears.
Now
Ditka.
this is something that our buddy Livesay might been throwing if it had yellow in there too, and that's a yellow or it's an all white spinner bug.
Oh yeah,
an all white spinner bug. Now Lee would have the Sharton white, right?
I thought Frank had the Sharton. Was that Frank or Lee?
No, Lee's got that tied on tomorrow, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Lee's got that tied on tomorrow. Okay, and there's all kinds of good stuff in here. Last but not least, but I want to show you something pretty cool that I thought was a good concept. So what I think that Strike King should do with this to correlate with you, Frank the Tank, and your fondness of coffee is see how the people at Liquid Mayhem, they have this. It's kind of like a kitexual seduction or a rage swimmer or the Berkeley swammer or over there. But what they do, Frank, is they give you a little bit of Liquid Mayhem with it. So what I'm thinking, what Strike King needs to do with the rage swimmer is give a complimentary pound of coffee scent.
A little Folger pack in there?
A 1 pound Strike King coffee flavored scent in everything to celebrate Frank the Tank's victory, right?
Hey, that isn't a half bad idea. I know they have a coffee scent. I use it. Meaning in a spray, no doubt.
Yeah. So Mark Copley,
you ever just spray that right in your mouth?
Yeah, spray it in your mouth. Yeah. That's exactly. That's what. Yeah. Hey, so if Mark Copley, get the gosh dang guy a signature series pound of coffee, Strike King scented stuff. Get it.
Yes.
Come on, Copley. I'm giving you ideas. You know what I mean? He's criming.
Instant coffee pack.
He's so lazy sometimes, that Mark Copley. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. But hey,
he's a good dude, no doubt. But yeah, Mark, if you're listening, return my email, please.
Yeah, exactly. And give the guy a raise, Copley, for crying out loud. Hey, Frank, thanks for hanging out extra with us, dude.
Hey, I really appreciate it, Pat, and thank you, Andy and Dan. I just want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate the support, and I really do, appreciate coming on here. If it wasn't for you guys and the fans out there, then, we wouldn't have a sport to really thrive in. So, thanks again. I appreciate it. And anytime you ever need anything, just holler.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we got I need about 10K. You got about 10? Can you write me a check?
Yeah, I got 10K. Honey, get this 10K.
Tell her cousin Eddie from vacation needs 10K.
About $35,000.
Frank, best of luck to you at the Tejas Fest over there. And many more victories. Look forward to having you on again, buddy.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Frank Talley, right there. Look at that. Ginge, what are we doing? Do we need to take a break, or you just want to wind it up? Is that what we're doing?
We're done.
Let's wind it up. We got a 50.
Oh, it's got a winder.
A $50 TH Marine 45 anniversary gift card for $50. Hey, did you know that? Hold on. I'm doing what's this movie?
Uma.
What's this? Yes.
Pulp
Fiction stuff right now. Doing this thing with my eyes and my fingers.
So that was Travolta.
If you're listening on iTunes, don't forget you can subscribe to us on iTunes and leave a hateful review. I love them. But the thing, people don't realize that they can't insult me. That's what I love. So anyway, we got a prize winner, and this is for $50, compliments of TH Marine Supplies, and ironically, TH Marine. Nice. I like your mustache fondle there, Raleigh Fingers Whitaker.
It's getting in my mouth there.
And sprayed in your mouth. The deal with this TH Marine thing is right now they're actually having $100, up to $100 off of a hydrowave. I like bumping shad sounds so much. I got 3 hydrowaves in my
Bring them to the
Crestliner.
surface.
Dude,
Yeah.
I got 3 hydrowaves bumping shad sounds all the time. Crawdad clicking in my vote.
Yeah.
3 of them. So, JP High, did you put him through the randomizer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who won randomly?
His name is Sean Forrest. Sean
Forrest.
Sean of the Forest.
Sean of the Forest. I bequeath you a $50 TH Marine Supplies gift card. All you have to do, Sean of the Forest, is, what does he do? He direct messages Jake Haas to the Straycast Facebook page. And Kate will get your name, or Jake will get your name to Kate, and then Kate gets it to Shanna, and then Shanna gets it back to Kate, and then Kate gets it to Jake, and then Jake gets it to you, Forest Man.
Over to the president.
Over to the Forest Man.
Simple as that.
45 years TH Marine Supplies. 45 years TH Marine. Just a little song I made up right there.
That's a good jingle.
Thanks.
Like that.
So thank you, Bass Galaxy, for gathering with me on this thin raft of life that you share with all of us here in the Bass Galaxy. And it's a beauty. It's a beauty, and it's lovely, lovely and beautiful to be here with you on Wednesday evenings. Right, JP?
Yeah.
Right, JP?
Yeah.
Right, Andrew Ellenberger?
Yo.
Right, Ryan Leviticus numbers.
Correct.
Fingers.
By the way,
Shooting them out,
CalSag
Whitaker.
Bass Anglers Championship, Friday and Saturday.
So, Ryan, how much money will you be winning on Saturday?
I said I averaged $26 a tournament.
Okay, 26.
So,
But no, for real, how much
But
is
yeah.
the prizes on this?
$4,200 for first.
42.
21 for second.
Okay.
1,000 for third.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of other stuff too. Side pots, all the. But Friday or Saturday's weigh-in, 4:15. Alice at boat ramp.
Yeah.
Come by. There's going to be beers and pizza.
And I'll be tomorrow. I'll be at Tim Rasala's spot.
That's right.
Yes. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to know, I'll be at Tim Rasala's spot.
That's his spot.
That's his spot. I'll be there
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
With a famous fisherman.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, really?
Yes. So look us up at.
Is
Tim.
it rolling? Is rolling coming?
He likes the waft of beef.
There's a lot of wafting going around that
There's
area,
a lot of
but it's not beef.
wafting of beef in that area. Andy, great job tonight. JP, great job tonight. Ryan Popcorn Whitaker, great job tonight.
I was here.
Lee, Frank, Brandon, great job tonight.
Good job, Pat.
How many? Thanks. How many Tin Cup Whiskey Champion words did we have?
Oh my God!
Was it
there
was
a
it
lot.
crazy?
Yeah, a couple dozen. Yeah.
Did they drink responsibly?
I didn't.
I will bet no one could possibly guess what I have in this cup. There is no possible way
I bet you I could
that
guess.
anyone in this Bass Galaxy can guess what I am drinking in this cup.
Is it melted jelly beans from the microwave?
No, but that would be delicious. No one can guess. If you guess, I'm gonna give you a rod and reel. I'm gonna do it.
What's your favorite color of black jelly bean?
My favorite color of black jelly bean?
Yeah.
Orange.
That's right.
And then the
That's right
black
answer.
ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a rod and reel if you can guess what I'm drinking in this cup. And go ahead. I mean, guess. Like now.
Nothing.
You can guess now. You can guess. You could send us a message. You could send us smoke signals, but you will never, ever, ever, ever in a million years ever guess what I am drinking in this cup. You'll
Sanka?
never know.
Is
You
it
people
Sanka?
will never know what I'm drinking. Good night. It's just soda.